Welcome to this first introductory tutorial video for the application Sertz, a Windows tool for building inserts for board games. My name is Robin, and I will be giving you an overview of the tool. In later videos, I'll walk you through the process of building a storage solution with Sertz for a fictional board game, which will hopefully put you on the path to building your own. But when you first open the application, it looks like this. A lot of the controls are disabled because we don't have a project started. So let's go ahead and start a project. Under File and New, opens the new design dialog, and you're immediately prompted for a project name. Project name can be anything you like. I typically like to put in the name of the board game I'm designing a solution for, so let's do that. Let's say I have a game called Zombie Wizards. Don't know if that's a real game. If it is, sounds interesting. Or maybe not. And the other thing you're prompted for is a material thickness. So the material is the type of material you're going to use to build your insert. I largely designed this application for foam core inserts, so the default is set to 5mm. If you're building it out of something else and it has a different thickness, you can specify that here, and that is also in millimeters. So feel free to change that if you like. If you're going to go with the foam core or foam board that you get at the craft store, you can double check it, but typically the stuff I get is 5mm thick. Go ahead and press OK, and the program comes to life. So we'll talk a little bit about some of these, some of the features. So front and center here, we have the desktop. This is the top view and probably the primary view where you're going to be designing things. Our name Zombie Wizards is here across the desktop. We can always change that if you decide that you don't like the name or you want to put additional information in here, like maybe this is part 1 or part 2 or whatever, or maybe versioning. And then Sertz creates a default game box for you. It has a dimensions here in the middle, so the dimensions are 300 by 300. This is in millimeters, and it represents the inside dimensions. So this is the distance from the inside wall to the inside wall. So when you're measuring your game box, make sure that you're measuring the inside dimensions and not the outside dimensions of the box, because remember, the insert has to fit in the box. And this is where this is the top view. You also have a front and a side view. The front view is as if you were sitting down here and looking at the box across this way. So that would be the front view. The left side view is if you're sitting over here and you're looking this way. And the side views are very helpful when you're starting to deal with multiple layers of trays, because you don't want to check the height. It also lets you adjust the height and some of those things. So talking about adjusting in this view, so you have your desktop here is the gray region. It extends for quite a way, so you have a lot of room to design. And then the box itself here in the center, when you click on it, it selects it with a dotted line around the outside. And if you click and drag, you can actually move the box, and you'll see that the two side views are moving accordingly to its positions. When I move left and right, the front view moves. When I move up and down, the left side view moves. Okay. You'll notice there's little handles here that allows you to adjust the size of the box, so no surprise there. You can adjust it in both dimensions, or if you just want to adjust width or height, you can do that too. Likewise, in these side views, you can adjust the depth of the box. So that's basically how you resize those things. And then off to the left, so let's talk about these controls across the bottom here. So if you have specific sizes, if dragging isn't your thing, or if you're having a hard time getting it exactly to the spot you want, you certainly can come in here and you can just type values in. So let's go ahead and do a width of 200, a length of 250, and let's do a depth of 120. There we go. So now we have the exact box that we want. So off to the left here, we have the height indicator control. Not very useful until we start actually adding some trays and start getting some layers. And it can be very helpful to help guide you in terms of understanding how tall trays should be inside of this box and how much room you have for the next tray and such and so on. So if you don't, if you're not using this control, or you just want to hide it for the time being, there's you can toggle it with this button up here in the toolbar and give you some more real estate. And likewise, there are handlebars between the views that allow you to make some adjustments. So if you really want to maximize your real estate, screen real estate, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it open for now. There are selection modes across the top in the toolbar next. There are basically three kinds of things you're going to be dealing with in the design. You're going to have what's called a chamber, which is the smallest unit, is any container that has dimensions. So the game box itself is a chamber. There's going to be the next larger item is a tray. So a tray is anything that you might lift out of the box or something that's going to be set into the box as a single unit. A tray itself may have multiple chambers in it, so like a token box that has multiple chambers in it for tokens. And then the largest unit is a layer. A layer has trays, which has chambers. So you might want to be able to grab and select the entire layer and not have to worry about accidentally selecting a chamber or a tray. So that's what these are for, and you'll see how these are used a little bit later. There are a number of controls for creating chambers. Obviously, we want more than just a game box here. We want to put stuff in it, and we're going to do that with space. We'll call a space chamber. There's also tray chambers, and trays can come with or without a base. We'll talk a little about what those do, what they're for, and then you also have the ability to copy. So you can make a copy of anything that you've done. You might have a tray that has four or five sections, and you want 2 of those for storing counters, and you might want to make a copy of that. The quick fit options allow you to quickly put a tray inside of a box or inside of another chamber, and without having to worry about measuring it out. This is just a quick facility for that. There's both with and without the base, much like the trays. We'll talk about how those work. You may want to auto grid. You may already know that you want 5x4 chambers in here, and you don't want to measure them out. So you can simply come in here and say, I want 5x4 and do that. So we'll walk through how that works a little bit later. In the modify section, we have undo and redo. So those do what you think they do. And there's also, you can access them from the edit menu or through keyboard shortcuts. So no surprises there. Modify. Modify really just turns on and off the resizing handles. So if you find that as you're making adjustments to things and you don't really, you have the sizes that you want, but you're trying to slide things around and you're bumping into those, you can turn those off with the modify toggle. I typically leave it on. I haven't found it to be too much of an issue, but if it bothers you, you can fiddle with it there. I won't go into too much of this here in this introductory video, but these are the layers buttons, which allow you to fit a new layer, a new full layer, and then crop layers. And I'll talk about how those work in a later video. And then output. This is the endpoint of the project that you're building. I mean, you're going to be able to save the configuration of it, but ultimately you want instructions on how to build this thing. And that's what this is for. There are 2 different forms. There's a notched and a flush. And I will talk about the difference between those. I think that's it for this video. Let's go ahead and stop there. In the next tutorial, we'll actually start building the insert. So we'll see you then.